The Montana blizzard hit like a freight train derailing off the Rockies, whipping snow through every crack in my old cabin like it had a personal grudge against the world. I just staggered back from a brutal haul to Billings, my bones aching from 3 days of fighting frozen trails and stubborn mules. Ice clung to my jacket like barnacles on a shipwreck, and all I wanted was to collapse by the fire, maybe drown the chill in a shot of whiskey. But as I shoved the door open, the wind slamming it behind me, something stopped me dead. There, in the faint glow of the dying embers, a shape huddled under my blankets. Not an animal, no. This was human, a woman's outline, dark hair spilling out like a raven's wing against my pillow. My hand dropped to the cold at my hip before I could even think. The metal was ice cold, but it steadied me. "Freeze right there," I growled, my voice low and rough, slicing through the darkness like a knife. Adrenaline surged through me, hot and sharp, chasing away the fatigue. Who the hell was this? Rustlers? Some drifter's play? Or worse, bounty men using a decoy? My mind raced back to the war, to ambushes and canyons where shadows turned deadly. I wasn't about to let my guard down in my own damn home. She turned slow, no panic in her movements, like she owned the place. The dim light caught her olive skin, making it shimmer faintly, and those eyes, God, those eyes hit me like a gut punch. They burned with defiance, but there was a flicker of something softer, vulnerable, like a cornered wildcat ready to fight or flee. Her voice came out musical, laced with Spanish rhythms and something deeper, older, that tugged at memories I'd buried deep. Navajo words echoed in my head unbidden, phrases from scouts I'd run with during the campaigns. "Pull the trigger if you must," she said, chin lifted high, pride radiating off her like heat from a branding iron. "But you'll die wondering what brought me to your doorstep." The wind outside seemed to hold its breath, the storm pausing, as if the night itself was eavesdropping on whatever fate had just dumped in my lap. I didn't lower the gun, but I reached for the lantern with my free hand, striking a match. Golden light spilled across the room, chasing shadows into corners. And there she was, Isabella Reyes. She called herself later, but in that moment, she was just a vision that knocked the wind out of me. Not just beautiful, though hell, she was that in spades, with curves that could make a man forget his name. It was the intelligence in those dark eyes, the way she sized me up like I was the intruder. Her dress was torn at the shoulder, revealing a graceful curve marred by ugly bruises. Fresh and purple, mud streaked her legs, her skirt ripped to shreds, and her feet bare, bloodied from God knows how many miles across frozen ground. But she sat there in my bed like a queen on her throne, unflinching. "I'm Isabella Reyes," she said, each word tested carefully in English, but with that melodic undercurrent that made my chest tighten. At your Jack Harlan, the ex-soldier fluent in Navajo, I stiffened like I'd been slapped. How in the blue blazes did she know that? My Navajo wasn't common knowledge, picked it up from scouts during the frontier pushes. Used it to broker uneasy truces before the brass turned everything to blood. Fewer still knew I'd walked away from the army after. Well, after things I didn't talk about. "How the hell do you know that?" I demanded, my grip on the cold tightening till my knuckles went white. Her smirk was calculated, like she was playing a hand of poker and holding aces. "Soldiers gossip over whiskey," she replied coolly, shifting just enough that the blanket slipped, revealing the subtle swell of her form beneath the tattered fabric. My eyes flicked down unwillingly, heat crawling up my neck despite the cold. "Damn it, Jack, focus. I know you battled at Fort Defiance. Quit when they forced you to witness the slaughter of the innocent." The gun wavered in my hand. Just a fraction. Those words dredged up ghosts I'd buried deeper than winter frost images of smoke-filled canyons. Screams echoing off red rocks, orders I couldn't stomach. Secrets no one outside the ranks should know, let alone this stranger who'd invaded my sanctuary. "Who put you up to this?" I pressed, stepping closer, the lantern light dancing across her face. Layers of intrigue peeled back in my mind. Was she a spy? A trap set by old enemies? "No one commands me," Isabella shot back, her eyes flashing with a fierce independence that made my pulse kick up a notch. "I choose my path, and tonight, that path led to your warmth." The words hung there, loaded heavier than a loaded six-shooter, implications I wasn't ready to unpack. The storm raged outside, rattling the shutters, sealing us in together. Trapped till dawn, at least. My mind screamed caution, but something in her gaze, that mix of fire and fragility, pulled at me, stirring emotions I'd locked away since the war ended and left me hollow. I lowered the gun a hair, but kept it ready. From her guarded stance, the way she eyed the door, and that dagger I spotted tucked in her boot, I figured bounty hunters were on her tail. 4 of them, she admitted when I pushed, her tone edged with old hate. Captained by Silas Kane, King Christ, that name was a curse. A sadistic bastard from my unit, the kind who grinned while villages burned. I crossed him once, called him out for enjoying the kill too much. If he was after her, this was bad. What crime stains your name? I asked, piecing it together like a puzzle missing half the pieces. Her gaze went distant, like she was staring into some abyss. I protected the vulnerable. She confessed softly. Your army brands as sedition. Deeper conspiracies swirled in my head, army cover-ups. Whispers of massacres swept under rugs. It pulled me in, despite every instinct yelling to toss her out into the snow. Days blurred after that first night, the storm locking us in a fragile truce. Isabella moved through my cabin like she'd always been there, learning my ways without asking. She'd brew coffee strong and black, just how I liked it after dawn patrols in the old days. Or sear venison over the fire till it was charred outside, juicy within. Her presence was a constant hum, magnetic, distracting me from the solitude I clung to like a lifeline. Montana's isolation had been my armor, 40 acres of nothing but pines and peaks, far from the judgments of townfolk who whispered about my war scars. But now, she filled the spaces, her laughter a rare, musical thing echoing off the log walls. Obsession snuck up on me slow. I'd catch myself watching her in the mornings, stretching in the pale light filtering through frost-laced windows. Her borrowed shirt, my shirt pulling tight across her breasts, outlining every curve. Or evenings by the fire, her humming folk tunes in that blended accent while she stirred stew. Hips swaying to some rhythm that made my mouth go dry as desert sand. It stirred things in me I'd thought dead desire, sure, but more, a longing for connection in this godforsaken wild. Caught you staring again, she teased one evening, her needle flashing through my torn flannel. Those deft fingers of hers worked magic, mending rips from barbed wire fences, and I couldn't help imagining them tracing the scars on my back, the ones from shrapnel and regrets. Can't help it, I grunted, honesty slipping out raw. Heat flushing my cheeks like a greenhorn at his first saloon. In my homeland, she murmured, eyes sparkling with mischief, such looks promise intent. The air thickened, crackling like the hearth flames. Means I'm pondering sins that had scandalized the saloon. Unspoken desires hung between us, pulling me toward her like gravity, but I held back, memories of loss pushing me away. The war had taken my brother, Tom, in a senseless skirmish, left me questioning every trust. And here was Isabella, a mystery wrapped in allure, challenging that wall. The breaking point came her 4th weekend. I'd been out splitting logs, axe biting into wood with more force than needed, trying to outrun the thoughts swirling in my head. Through the cabin window, steam fogged the glass, but I glimpsed her bathing in the tub by the fire. Water cascaded down her toned body, scars faint like stories etched in skin, steam veiling but revealing the full swell of her breasts, nipples purred in the warmth. It was raw, intimate, a vision that shattered my restraint. I should have looked away. A decent man would, but I ain't claimed decency since the army. The sight ignited a primal hunger, memories of lonely nights flooding back, mixed with a tenderness that scared me more than bullets. She emerged wrapped in my shirt, hair damp and curling, thighs bare and flushed from the heat. That was pulverized pent-up fury, she observed, settling across from me at the table where I pretended to clean my rifle. Her knowing grin fueled the blaze inside. Better ways to unleash it, she hinted, voice low, settling closer by the fire. Her scent pine soap and something uniquely her wrapped around me like a lasso. Conversation turned to ghosts then, as it often did in the quiet hours. She brought up Captain Hawthorne, a name that hit like a ricochet. How'd you learn that? I demanded, rag forgotten. Hawthorne had been my CO at Fort Defiance, a rare honorable man in a sea of butchers. I served him faithfully, Isabella confided, pain carving lines in her face. As his interpreter in Navajo dealings, he aimed to avert the Red Rock Canyon massacre. New innocents were their women, children. Chills gripped me as pieces aligned. The official report called it a warrior camp, but I'd heard whispers of atrocity, seen the haunted eyes of survivors. Traitors accused him of collusion through me, she continued, tears welling but not falling. Disgraced him, chained me as a spy. Her voice cracked on the revelation. Davis orchestrated the raid. 30 souls gone. I could have translated his warning, saved them. Belief hit me like a stampede. Hawthorne had been good, tried to do right. I reached out, cupping her tear-streaked face, calluses rough against her soft skin. She leaned in, vulnerability blooming, our fingers lacing. Kane enforces Davis's silence. She whispered, "They'll erase me to bury the truth Hawthorne's Navajo bride fuels his justice quest." I vowed protection then, a fierce oath from deep in my gut. Binding us against the shadow's dot in that charged silence, she closed the gap. Our kiss erupted desperate, consuming, dissolving years of isolation. Her nails raked my back as I claimed the salt of her skin, emotion surging, fear of loss. Hounded for her touch, a love budding fierce and unbidden. Clothes shed in hay spell clattering, shirt whispering away and veiling her beauty, scars and all. We merged on the rug, gasps and groans sensing, her body arching under mine. Cries echoing my name as climax shattered us. In the afterglow, entwined, the storm's hush mirrored our peace. We'll face it together, I pledged, combing her raven hair. Her eyes reflecting a dawn of love that terrified and thrilled me, but peace was fragile. Danger struck first on a supply trek to the nearest trading post, run by old Zeke.